Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. Today we're sitting as council, a regular council meeting. We are in the presence of our clerk and deputy clerk and some other staff members. Thank you for attending, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 1:02 p.m. Land acknowledgement. Township of Hamilton is situated within the traditional territory of the Mississauga, Anishinaabe, and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations. Our work on these lands respectfully acknowledges their resilience and their long-lasting contribution to the area now known as the Township of Hamilton. I don't believe we have any addition to the agenda today. So item 4 is the confirmation of our agenda. Prepared motion that the agenda for the council meeting held on November 19th, 2024 be approved. Moved by Larry, seconded by Mark. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 5. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest today? Seeing none, that shall be recorded. We don't have any media with us, and I don't presume we have anyone online, so we'll bypass the public question period. We don't have any presentations or delegations, so we'll move on to item 8 on our agenda, and that is to go into a public meeting. And the prepared motion reads that it is recommended that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hamilton enacts as follows. The council move into a public meeting under section 357 of the Municipal Act at 1:04 p.m. on November 19th, 2024. Could I have a mover, please, and a seconder? Moved by John, seconded by Bruce. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We have an application for cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes under section 351 DI of the Municipal Act. This is 8.2 on our agenda. Nazareth, are you going to speak to this, or it's been in our agenda package? It's possibly all that we need.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the staff report is sufficient enough.
Thank you. And similarly, our application for cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes under section 351 DI under 8.3 being 4890 County Road 45. There's no one in the audience with us. Oh, there is? Oh, my apologies. I should have put my glasses on. Are you interested in this property? Yes? And obviously here in support of the application. Would you like to come to the microphone and speak to it, or just acknowledge that you're here and present for? And the property that you own is 4890 45 Highway? Okay, thank you very much. It shall be recorded that you're here. Seeing no one else in the audience, I'll simply ask anyone else in opposition or clarification on this. Again, the staff report speaks to it. Thank you. 8.4 of our agenda. Prepared motion that council rise from a public meeting under section 357 of the Municipal Act and reconvene to a regular meeting of council at 1:06 p.m. November 19th, 2024. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Larry, seconded by John. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 9. There is no information there today. Item 10. Adoption of the previous council and committee of the whole meetings. 10.1 of the October 15th, 2024 council minutes. Prepared motion that the minutes of the October 15th, 2024 council meeting be adopted. Can I have a mover, please? Bruce, seconder. John, any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. 10.2 on our agenda. Prepared motion that the minutes of the November 12th, 2024 committee of the whole meeting be approved. I have a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Larry, seconded by Mark. Any questions or comments? Mark?
Should we be referring this to budget then? Minutes,
Could we,
just the grants, so we should refer to budget.
so
So, Mr. Mayor, if you wouldn't mind approving the minutes, and then we can move a subsequent motion to have the recommendations from the Committee of the Whole minutes of November 12th referred to budget deliberations.
thank you, thank you. So the motion on the floor is the minutes of the November 12th, 24 Committee of the Whole meeting be approved. We do have a mover and a seconder on that. All those in favor of that motion, yes. Mark, would you, you caught that, and brought that up. Would you like to make a motion, please?
To forward the what's within the committee of the whole meeting to budget for deliberations.
Okay, moved by Mark, seconded by John. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 12 on our agenda. And that is the committee reports. And prepared motion is dealing with agenda items 12.2 to 12.5. Prepared motion is, it is recommended that the Council of the Corporation of Township of Hamilton enacts as follows. That the agenda items 12.2 to 12.5 of the November 19th, 2024 council meeting agenda be received for information. I have a mover, please. Moved by John, seconded by Mark. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Item 13 on our agenda. Public Works and Infrastructure regarding Sackville Bridge update road restriction. Prepared motion. It's recommended the Council of the Corporation of Township of Hamilton enacts as follows. The council receives report. Public Works 2024-11 Sackville Bridge update road restriction for information. And the council directs staff to publish notice of the new posted weight of 12 tons for single unit, 22 tons for 2 unit, and 31 tons train unit on the municipal website, and a bylaw for council to read on this day, and further that staff be directed to update the appropriate signage in the area. I have a mover, please. Moved by John, second by Larry. John, did I sense you had a question? Please, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor. Wait for Lucas to get to the podium. Lucas, what was the cost of for the engineer for this study?
The
Or-
cost for this report was approximately $8,000.
Okay.
So
So did this engineer, did he go by the old report from back in 2012 from ACOM?
there was old reports. They found the original design drawings that were going back to, I forget, they're in the report itself. I want to say in the 1920s, 30s. So they had a bunch of information, reviewed all that. Through that process, they found drawings in 1970 that the MTO thought that this was already replaced. So back in the 70s, it was identified to create a multi-plate twin steel culverts. So this bridge, they received it from the MTO in the appendix. Yeah, so through that process, we've obviously the structural component through OSIM investigation identified that we need to do another further investigation because this bridge is deteriorating.
Follow up, John?
Yes, I know, but back in 2012, there was a study done and they had the public input as well for the closure or opening of the bridge or whatever they'd like to see happen. And at that time, I believe in the report, it said that structural integrity was failing and something should be done within a 5-year period. So do you think by altering the tonnage on this bridge is going to make any difference?
Not a whole lot, because just more of a due diligence for our part. But I don't want to get into too much, but this will be considered here in the very near future, this bridge or engineering and the next steps for closing, replacing cul-de-sacs, but we'll have to have a further conversation.
Okay, thank you.
It I think I'd be a bit remiss if I didn't remind all of us of the significance of that type of structure and how few of those bowstring bridges are left in the province. And I'm sure that'll be part of future discussions. Thank you. Any further questions for our manager? Seeing none, we do have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Corporate services. 15 on our agenda item. And a lot of it to deal with public works. Prepared motion is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Hamilton acts as follows. The council receives report T 2024-21, being 2025 user fees update for public works. And the council approves the proposed user fees set out in report T 2024-21, 25 user fees update for public works. And the township fees and charges bylaw be amended to reflect the proposed fees effective on January 1st of 2025. Can I have a mover, please, to get this on the floor? Moved by John, seconded by Larry. Any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, we'll move on. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Section 15.2. Section 357, Municipal Act of Refund of Property Taxes. It is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hamilton acts as follows. The Council of the Township of Hamilton receives report 2024-22, applications for 357 of the Municipal Act for refund of property taxes, and the council approves the write-off of property taxes with a total amount of $1,267.53 for a part of 2022 and 2023 tax years, of which $567.69 is the municipal portion. Can I have a mover, please? Mark, seconder, Larry? Any questions or comments at this time? John, please.
This one I'm struggling with, Mayor Jib, is this the one on Harwood Baltimore Road? I believe that we.
I don't believe that's the
Is that
case,
not the one?
John.
I thought it was 15.2, you said.
Can you clarify that that item will be in December?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Thought that was coming up. Sorry. Sorry about that.
The property that we're dealing with is actually on McFarland Road. If I have it correct, McFarland Road for this first one? Yes, McFarland Road. Okay, so we have the motion. Do we have any questions at this point in time? All those in favor? Okay, thank you. Just for clarity, this next one is 4890 County Road 45. Prepared motion. The Council of the Township of Hamilton receives report 2024-23, applications per section 357 of the Municipal Act for refund of property taxes. And the council approves the write-off of property taxes for the total amount of $1,821.16 for all of the 2022 to 2024 tax year, of which $395.43 is the municipal portion. Do we have a mover, please? Moved by Larry, seconded by Mark. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moving on to 15.4 on our agenda regarding the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority. Prepared motion, the council receives report 2024-24, being the 2025 Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority operating budget for information. And that council directs staff to confirm in writing to the GRCA the township support and approval. And that council provides 2025 pre-operating budget approval for $190,437 for the GRCA Basic Shared Levy and Specialized Township Initiatives. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by John. Do I have a seconder? Bruce? Any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. 15.5, guiding service delivery review of Public Works. We do have a prepared motion that I'll read to get it on the floor. And it's recommended that council of the Corporation of Township of Hamilton enact as follows. The council receives report CAO 2024-06, service delivery review of Public Works, Roads Department for information, and the council approves $50,000 for the service delivery review of Public Works to be funded from DC, $5,000, and general reserves of $45,000. Can I have a motion, please, to put it on the floor? Moved by Larry, seconded by John. Questions or comments? John, please.
Yes, through you, Mayor Jib. This was brought to the attention of council back on the 14th of December, 2023. And the motion that was put forward was by myself. And it was seconded by the deputy mayor and approved by the rest of council. The council, the corporation, the township of Hamilton acts as follows: that the CEO be directed to prepare a report identifying a potential analysis of an operational plan for Public Works Department for Public Works coordinators and council. Then again, it came, that was during I think it was a special meeting of council. Then it also came before council again on the 20th of December, where it was included that they come before the committee prior to being brought to council. And that was, the same motion was read again, and it was agreed upon by council. Now, that was in 2023. That was 11 months ago. In those 11 months, we now get a report. And that report reads that basically want to step outside and have somebody else come in here and do an analysis of our corporation Public Works. Now, as far as I'm concerned, analysis is an active study that examines something in detail. And the process is used to identify tasks, responsibilities, skills, objectives, and the work environment for a specified job. Now, in the so-called analysis that was been put forward by the CEO's report, it basically, in the bottom line, it says right here that however, this is more regular increment approval process already happens. And we believe the results of an external independent review can provide a speedy and impartial set of recommendations. Now, the recommendations that are also in the analysis that have been put forward, that could have been done in an 11-month period. Why now do we have to now put $50,000 out when all these recommendations are specifics, I guess, in the specify in the RFP is probably 12. All those 12 could have been accomplished in the 11th-month period. I just am beside myself to try and figure this out, but I'd like a response or an answer from.
Very well. We have two staff people that are here in relationship to the report. Arthur, this is under your position. Would you care to respond to?
Sure. Sure, through you, Mayor Jib. I'm happy to respond. I believe those two recommendations came as a result of the budget discussions that occurred last year. And that report, looking at analysis and options, looked at not only our staffing levels, our expenditures, and our equipment usage. And I brought that information back earlier this year. I can't remember whether it was the July or the September meeting, but I did bring that information back earlier in the year, reporting as requested by council. This report, to look at the service review, wants to take that one step further and look at the structure as a result of some recent changes in the department, as well as even as recently as the last week or so, we heard of another retirement. But similar to the reviews that occurred in fire, as well as parks and facilities, we had an external look at the structures, the resources, the plans going forward in those departments. We were planning on taking a more extensive review to bring that back to council so that they are satisfied, one, that we've looked at it independently. That's why we're bringing forward that approach. I'm in the process of trying to confirm, in fact, that the service reviews that could be undertaken for that level of money can in fact actually be done within our purchasing or procurement bylaw. And I won't need to do a full RFP, but I could bring back something that makes sure we comply with our purchasing policy. So to summarize, I did bring information back as a result of those requirements from the budget discussion last December. You saw that in earlier this year. This is a further analysis to bring us a more detailed external independent review and bring that back to council once the conclusions are reached on both resources, structure, and direction for the department.
Thank you, Arthur. A follow-up question, John, or comment? There, Phil, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So are you going to include public input in this study? I think it's important that we get a lot of complaints from the public with regards to public works operations, comments about some of the work that's being done, et cetera, et cetera. So I would think that if you're going to go ahead with this study, if council approves it, that the public is to be included in that study to get input from the public with regards to the expectations that the public have for one of the largest budget areas that we have in the township. Okay, thank you.
I'll look to the south side of the room. Mark, Bruce, comments or questions? Mark,
Just make a quick comment that I don't know, it's the timing that has become an issue or whether it's the process, but I look at the process and say that, you know, it's always good to have outside eyes if you're gonna look at something like this. To do that type of work, because then you're not influenced and so forth by other staff and within the, you know, within your own facilities. So personally, I think it's a good thing that we're going outside to get information to bring back to council and to bring back for staff to work with at some point, hopefully. So I tend to agree with what's being proposed.
Bruce, would you like to have a question or comment? My position quite simply is, and everybody in this room knows how I feel about consultants. Their main source of information is the staff ourselves, themselves. I exclude myself from that. I should regress there a bit. In this particular case, depending on the full scope of work, I can suggest that I believe that the consultant's report is going to come back with saying, we need more buildings, more equipment, and more personnel. We do have a very large budget for roads. We do get a number of calls on roads, and it's understandable considering the distance of roads that we have to maintain with the people that we have. I personally have a problem with spending $50,000, even though it's not going to affect this year's budget. It's $50,000. I believe there's an opportunity here to deal with a good portion of this in-house. And that's where I'm tending with to head with my thoughts. I mean, I can't support this motion as it is. I may not have that opportunity. That decision may be made by council members before I ever get an opportunity to vote, but that's my mindset right now. Something modified? Yeah. Something less expensive? Yes. But the way this sits in front of me right now, I can't, personally, I can't support it. I'll go quiet on my own thoughts and go around the room one more time. Anyone wish to provide a follow-up comment or question? Bruce?
But I just, that was what I was thinking, if we spend this money, they come back and say, well, we're paying for what we're doing, but we're gonna spend much more money. I'm on board with the recommendation. Where's that money? I agree with the lot of rules and stuff that have to be covered, and I think we're gonna count for a long time, and I know the roads in town are a lot better than they were a while. I think we're in good shape. I agree with you, it's a lot of money. And what are we gonna do with the recommendation?
Thank you, Bruce. Any other comment or follow-up? Okay, well, we have the prepared. I'm sorry, Larry? Yes.
Through Mr. Mayor, I'm all for improving service efficiency and productivity. And I know it's difficult because we've been working in a current state right now. But I think with maybe some of the changes that we've made, that's going to alter some of the effectiveness within that department. I shall not say anything more than that. But I think we do have some really experienced and knowledgeable people working within the township that could make a lot of information available to staff in the Public Works Department to improve their productivity and efficiency and operational access. So I agree. I don't think we need to do this study. I think there's enough expertise within the township if we use some cross-reference to some of the other departments to help out. But we've done a lot of work in-house, and I think we can possibly do that without exiting, going to consultants for $50,000. That's my take. I don't support it.
I'll ask for the final time before we get to the motion that's been moved and seconded. Any follow-up question or comment? Mark, please.
I'm just a little confused now because I thought the original motion said that we were going to go forward with a study. So are we still going forward with a study then? Or are we not going forward with a study? Because I'm understanding what Larry had just said, maybe we're not going forward with one. We're going to have staff come back and look at tune-ups on their own. So
The motion on the floor is to move forward with the $50,000 approval for money.
yes,
Because that was the prepared motion, that's what is on the floor for our consideration. We will have to deal with that motion. And
yes,
I'm going to turn to our clerk and just confirm. We'll have to deal with that motion by our vote, either to approve or not. And then we can come back with a second motion of our own origin. And I'm going to turn to our clerk and say, is that a process that can take place properly?
It is through you, Mr. Mayor, a process that can take place without amendment. That's the only other option is an amendment or a deferral. And but to be clear, I've reviewed the motion and it is specific to funding the service delivery review.
so we are still doing a review then.
So by voting this down, you are not saying you are not going to do a service delivery review.
Okay.
Staff has still received direction to do that, and this motion is specific to funding that study.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now we got a series of questions here. Larry, you're closest to me, so please go first.
Why don't we take a recorded vote?
Okay.
To those approving it or not approving it.
John, you also had a question, I believe.
Yes, I agree with Larry's comment, and also the fact that my original motion, would that not still stand for 2023?
There's nothing through you, Mr. Mayor. There is nothing that have undone your previous motions.
Thank you.
So this is just clarity again. This is dealing with the funding.
Funding.
If we vote this down, the report is still going to be done in-house because that was the direction of your 2023 motion. Am I correct in stating that? Again, maybe not as nicely as you did.
The way the motion is read, Mr. Mayor, is that if this motion is turned down, there is no approval for the funding of a service delivery review.
Okay, but the requirements of the service delivery review still exist.
Previous recommendations that were approved exist.
Okay, is everyone clear? Okay, any further questions or comments? Okay. Does anyone want the motion read or is it clear in everybody's mind? Okay, I'll ask for the recorded vote to take place, please.
Counselor Butter,
Nay.
Counselor Davison, Counselor Lovshin,
I'll say nay.
Deputy Mayor Williamson,
Nay.
and Mayor Scotchin.
Nay.
Defeated unanimous.
Just take a second until that gets recorded. And we'll move on to 15.6. Multi-year accessibility plan. Prepared motion that council receives report CD 2024-09, 2024 to 2029 multi-year accessibility plan for information, and further that the 2024 to 2029 multi-year accessibility plan be adopted and posted on the municipal website. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Larry, seconded by Mark. All those, any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Nothing under emergency services, so we'll move to 17, communication and announcements. 17.1, with the agenda items from 17.2 to 17.9 of the November 19th, 2024 council meeting agenda be received. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by John, seconded by Larry. Thank you. Questions or comments? John?
Yes, I guess we want to pull, sorry, I guess we just want to pull, wrapped in the courage flag, I guess.
Turn to our clerk. Do we want the motion that's on the floor approved and then pull?
So, Mr. Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, that would be great. If you wouldn't mind approving or receiving the correspondence, that would be great.
Okay, so the motion's on the floor. It's been moved, it's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. Okay, now we'll come back to you, John, in relationship to, I think you said 17.9.
17.3
17.3.
and 17.8, I believe it is. Coburg Council resolution. The first one, 17.3, is wrap the courage flag. I believe we've done that in the past. I believe the Parks and Recreation is nodded yes. So I wonder if we still be doing that this year. Thank you very much. The Coburg Council one, I have issues with that. I read that 2 or 3 times and I had to get it through my mind here, what direction I was going to go in. Just to clarify a few misprints, I believe, within the documentation itself. The salary rate increase that the OPP received is not because they're short of staff. That was a negotiated settlement from the OPPA from 2023 to 2026. So that was the negotiated. It didn't because of the fact that we're short staffed. The other comment I have too is that I think it was West Gray or Gray Bruce. I think it was Owen Gray, West Gray and Owen Sound. Back in the early days, I believe in 2004, I believe the government wanted to cut back in the size of the municipalities, and they were cut back to 444. West Gray and Owen Sound decided back in 2019 that they would amalgamate some services together, and one of those was the OPP costing. So they did go with, I think, believe back to municipal policing, and they have joined forces. That's not because of the act, the way it's put in the documentation that the town of Coburg gave us. So I think we just should receive this for information only and make other comments. Thank you.
Okay, Larry, follow up?
In this resolution from Coburg, they never consulted or advised or came to speak to us as a council with regards to placing our name on their document. And so I don't know how we could even identify this resolution or accept it or respond to it.
Appreciate that comment, Larry. Could I throw that towards our CAO or our clerk for I guess a knee-jerk position response, if that's available to us? If not, then then maybe we could get a comment later on in a future meeting. Arthur, I'm throwing it out your way. I know you've had no time to think about it, but
That would be very accurate. Through you, Mayor Jim, I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I hear the comments that are being made about it. If we could, we would come back before giving you a full analysis. Obviously, we've also not only is it being flagged here, but have not had a lot of comment to date. So I'd like to be able to bring that back to the next meeting of council.
okay. So, John, you started, oh, maybe I should turn to Bruce. Comments or questions, Mark, Bruce? John, you started us off on this with bringing it out of the group, and would you be in a position you would consider a motion that we defer it back to staff for a follow-up? I think is what we're really heading towards. I don't mean to lead you, but
I think that'd be the most cautious route to take, yes.
okay, so
A motion that we take it back to staff for further review.
okay, and do we have a seconder for that consideration? Okay, Bruce? Any further questions or comments on that? Larry?
Well, honestly, I think that within this resolution that they brought forward to us, we ask that the Township of Cobourg remove our name from this resolution. At the end, it says, now therefore, be it resolved that the council agrees to the concept of amalgamation and or expansion of policing within the municipality of Port Hope and the Township of Hamilton. Again, I don't know why our name's not on there, or why our name is on there. So I would ask that the Cobourg Council remove that.
Is that something that we could do in the future after we get some, after we get the staff report? Mark, please.
To make a comment on that, I think they're asking their council to accept that as part of their resolution. So, and then they're directing it to come to us after that. So they're asking their council to seek whether those concepts would work, whether it be amalgamation or expansion with the municipality of Port Hope and the Township of Hamilton. So they're asking their own council to accept that. They're not putting it out there any other way. And then they're sending the correspondence to the two mayors and councils. So it's not really them throwing it at us that we have to accept it or it's been accepted. It's just that they're trying to get it passed at their own council level, from what I'm reading anyway.
I understand your position, and I just wonder if the most appropriate process would be to get a staff report and then deal with those types of things at that point in time. Would that be acceptable to you, Larry? Thank you.
Again, through you, Mayor Jim, we can include any commentary on the resolution as well as part of that review. I know, just to sort of backtrack to my comment a moment about it seen here, I had looked at the previous resolution previously, and as far as I'm aware, this was the first time it was raised with us. We've been very satisfied with our relationship with the OPP, to our Police Services Board, and now reconstituted through our Police Services Board. So this was not something that we pursued or were aware of, but certainly we'll look at the results and the impact of this. I believe the county has also dealt with the issue of policing recently as well. And we may be able to take information from that as well as part of feedback to council on this issue.
Okay, I need clarity from our clerk. We pulled it. We made a motion, get a staff report, but we didn't get a vote on that, did we? Okay. All those in favor of the motion to send this to staff and get a report coming forward? Carried, thank you. Okay, so that takes us down to 18 on our agenda. Prepared motion dealing with Schedule H fees and charges. Is recommended to council, the corporation, the Township of Hamilton enacts as follows. that bylaw 2024-54 being a bylaw to further amend Schedule H of bylaw 2024-30, fees and charges as amended by bylaw 2024-48, be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 19th day of November 2024. Can I have a mover, please? Larry, seconder? John? Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Bylaw 2024-59 to establish water connection rates. Prepared motion that the bylaw 2024-59 being a bylaw to establish water connection rates as per section 12 of the Municipal Act be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 19th day of November 2024. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Bruce, seconder Larry. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. 18.3 on our agenda. Development charges bylaw. Prepared motion that the bylaw 2024-60 being a bylaw imposed development charges within the township of Hamilton be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 19th day of November 2024. Mover and the seconder, please. Moved by John, seconded by Larry. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. 18.4, prepared motion regarding execution of municipal access agreement with Ontario Broadband Networks. The bylaw 2024-61 being an a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to sign and execute an agreement with Ontario Broadband Networks and for the construction of a fiber optic network be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 19th day of November 2024. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Larry, seconded by Bruce. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Thank you. Load restrictions, Sackville Bridge. Prepared motion that bylaw 2024-63 being a bylaw to limit the gross weight of any vehicle or any class thereof passing over Sackville Bridge within the township of Hamilton be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 19th day of October 2024. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Mark, seconded by John. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Closed session. Does anyone want a break when we get into closed session? Maybe we'll take a couple minute break when we get to closed. Okay, motion. Prepared motion that council meeting held on November 19th, 2024, move into a closed session at 1:45 PM under the Municipal Act, sections 239, 2B, D, and E. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Bruce, seconded by John. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And we'll take a 5-minute break. Our report in open on our closed session is that staff are to proceed with action that was directed by council in the closed session. Thank you. Our confirmatory bylaw, prepared motion, bylaw 2024-64 being a bylaw to adapt the proceedings of the council meeting held on the 19th day of November 2024 and to authorize its execution be given a first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 19th day of November 2024. Mover and the seconder. Moved by Bruce, second by John. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Adjournment. A prepared motion that council meeting held on November 19th, 2024 be adjourned at 2:48 p.m. Mover? Mark, seconder? Larry? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, everyone.